What's good, y'all? It's your boy JermJuice. I'm locked in with SPD Fanatics. Shout out to my boy Keith Cunningham for having me on. Y'all watch this video. Y'all tap into the pod. Y'all know what to do, man. There's some good stuff right here. Y'all don't want to miss it, for sure.
Just listen.
How did you get that Welcome to SPD Fanatics. I'm your host, Keith Cunningham. Hailing from the vibrant music scene of Charlotte, North Carolina, JermJuice is an emerging producer making waves with his signature sound, blending hard-hitting drums, soulful melodies, and innovative production techniques. JermJuice has quickly established himself as a name to watch in the industry. Welcome my man JermJuice to the show.
So y'all, man, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. That was a nice intro. I was not expecting that.
Oh, no, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. I've been checking you out for a minute on social media, man. I mean, your tracks is just fire.
Yeah, I appreciate that, for real.
So, man, what inspired you to become a music producer?
Well, generally speaking, I come from a musical family. You know, my dad, he plays piano. You know, he makes songs, and I grew up like everybody in the house was pretty much musicians. My sister, she was a singer. My brother made beats, and you know, he was rapping. So I grew up in a musical family, and when I got of age, you know, and I graduated high school, I kind of had to make my mind up to see what it is I wanted to do, you know. And thank God my parents gave me some time to kind of think for myself, because I had like a gap period where I was just working, you know, I was going to church, and I was just, you know, at the crib. And it just, one day it just clicked. I was like, this is what I'm going to do with my life, you know. And I haven't looked back ever since. You know, I went to college for a little while, probably for like a couple years. But even when I started college, I had my mind made up, like, okay, I'm gonna become a producer. I'm gonna study in music and take as many music classes as I can, just so I can get as skilled as I can be, so I can be the best producer I can be. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, who are your biggest musical influences, and how have they shaped your sound?
Musical influences, period.
Yeah, period.
Okay.
Because I know your genre stretch way beyond just hip hop.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've always just been a fan of good music. I'm glad you asked that, because for me, it's more broad than just producers. A lot of people ask me what producers have influenced me. And so if that's one of your questions, I'll save that for later. But musically, my influences consist of course, like Michael Jackson, Outkast. My dad was a huge like Commodores fan, Gap Band. You know, my mom was a huge Prince fan. So growing up listening to them, and then my brother, you know, he's older than me, so he was super tapped in with the hip hop. My sister is a huge Beyonce fan. You know, she loved Bow Wow. Remember like the early 2000s where the Scream tours was going crazy. Like it's a little bit of everything, but definitely like the greats. Michael Jackson, yeah, Commodores, Outkast. It's really like top 3 for real.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. You know, when I talk to a lot of producers, when it's a difference between, I think it's a difference between. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but a difference between producers who have a R&B background versus producers not having that background and they just focus strictly on hip hop and rap. But when you got that R&B background, then you got music, you got chords that come along with that. You got a lot of things that comes along with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I get a lot of fulfillment from producing for R&B, you know, which of course that translates to like me being a student of Michael Jackson. You know, I didn't know it would translate in my career, but I'm glad that it does, because in the days where I'm not really feeling the trap vibe or like the hip hop or the drill, you know, I always come back to R&B. Then, you know, R&B scratches that itch, So yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have a favorite DAW or go-to plugins for your productions?
My favorite DAW right now is FL Studio, of course,
Mhm.
for cooking up. My two top favorite plugins right now are Sky Keys and Keyscape. If
Yeah.
I'm if I'm ever stuck at any time, I can always go through Keyscape and it's gonna get the juices flowing.
Yeah. So, how do you approach collaboration with artists, songwriters, and other producers? How did they come about?
What my methods like with just anybody or just like
Yeah, just with anybody that you get in collaborations with.
I try to fit where I'm needed, you know. I consider myself very versatile. So my main objective is not to necessarily make a beat for everybody or to make sure that, my name is on every record. My main objective is how can I add value to this person or in this situation. If that means that I need to record, I also engineer. So I might engineer the session. Or if somebody needs me just to play keys and play chords, because with songwriters, a lot of times they don't need a lot to write a song. They might need a simple chord progression or a couple sounds, and that can get them going. So it's either I might take that approach, or some people might need like full production. That might need the whole beat, the bells and whistles. Okay, I got that too. My job is to make sure that I can add value to whatever situation I'm in.
Yeah, so I asked this question: if you say certain artists that you want to produce for, do you just send them your tracks, or do you try to shape that sound and be intentional for that particular artist?
I do both. I have a variety. I make some that's kind of tailor made for that sound, or I'll leave like loops or references or ideas. I'll send them that way. I really want to get in the room. I'm the best, like old school. Like I'm not really a fan of sending emails. I'm gonna do the best that I can to get in the room, because once I get in the room and I can really feel your vibe, feel your energy, then that can tell me which way I need to move. But for the most part, if I'm trying to get in with like a new artist, I'm gonna have beats, I'm gonna have loops. Some beats might be my sound, quote unquote. Some beats might be tailor made to their sound. I might have loops or ideas that are just kind of creative or simple. So I just try to keep a variety of things.
So, one question I too want to ask you: how do you stay motivated and continue to improve in your craft?
Oh man. uh Stay motivated. I think what's been helping me is just finding ways to fall back in love with it, you know, not really getting too caught up on what people need from me, but what am I getting out of, making music, period. Why am I doing this in the first place? I always reference back to like before I started making music, back when I just had the love for it. And I kind of mimic those same feelings or emotions or vibes. So I might do something that gives me like a nostalgic feel. That's why a lot of times, like I made a lot of those videos was because a lot of records that I wanted to produce, you know, I haven't really got the opportunity to do it. So, or it just might be the time. It's just not the right time. So for me, it's really just going back and referencing, okay, what made me get involved in this in the first place? And just kind of put myself in a space where I'm inspired again. I might go back and watch like an old Michael Jackson tape. Like one day I showed my wife the Moonwalker movie, you know, and I used to watch that like every day. When I was like 5, 6 years old, I watched it on repeat. Like it always puts a battery in my back. So it's just things like that. I might play like an old video game, or I might listen to like old records that had me, turned up in high school. that way it kind of separates me from the business of it or like the service of it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you faced any creative blocks? Like you just at a standstill, you can't come up with anything. If so, how do you overcome those blocks?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Really, for one, I take a break. I don't try to force anything.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes like I'll say it this way: 9 times out of 10, if I'm having beat block, this is me personally. If I'm experiencing beat block, then that means that there's something that's literally, I take it as my spirit telling me that there's something else that I need to focus on. Now is not the time to be sitting in front of in front of the computer. I need to go like recharge in a certain area of my life. I might have to go spend some time with some friends or some family, get back to me as a person and not me as a producer, you know. So it's either that or I might have to get new sounds. I might have to get inspired again. So, you know, really just is living life. These I'm a huge proponent of living life. Don't allow your computer or music to enslave you. You know, that's not what this is supposed to be. It's music is supposed to be like water. You know, it's easy, it flows. And when everything is aligned, then you won't have no problem cooking up. But if you experience a problem, then it's not gonna hurt just to take a break, you know, step away or find a way to get that spark, get some new sounds or, you know, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, that's some good advice, man, for those producers out there having those issues. Do you have any upcoming projects or releases that you're excited about?
Yeah, I've been working with this artist named Byron Jawan out of he's from Charlotte, but he lives in Atlanta now. He's an R&B artist. We just dropped an EP last year, like late fall, and it's doing pretty good. So they're about to do a deluxe. I got 2 more records on there. On the R&B side, I got a record coming out with this artist named Goldie Lux. She's like an alternative pop R&B artist. I'm not sure when that's coming out. I think it's first quarter though, like in March, sometime in March. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think Tia Corinne is finishing up her album. I got a joint with her. That's pretty cool.
Now
Yeah.
you've been getting noticed too by countless producers out there. Who are some of the producers that have been kind of hitting you up and after hearing what you're doing?
Man, one that's been on my line heavy is Lex Luger.
Hey,
Yeah, that's amazing. Like it's crazy because it seems like as soon as the top of the year started, like I'll never forget, he texted me, sent me his number through Instagram, like, yo, hit me this January 1st, you know.
mhm.
And then probably like a week or two after that, he FaceTimes me and he's like, yo, I've been seeing all the videos, like I love what you're doing, like you inspired me, like I'm getting so much work right now and I want you to be a part of it. You know, I want you involved because I'm already at a certain point in my career. I'm already successful, you know. So right now I just want to maintain and put everybody else on, put my boys on, the ones that's really locked in. So for me, that's a huge accomplishment because this is a producer that inspired me to make beats when I was 15, 16. You know, you talk about 10 years ago, I was listening to his hits back to back, you know, like on my PSP on my way to school, you know. So the fact that I got his attention and not only is his attention, but I got his number, he's calling like, and he's telling me that I've inspired him. It's just like, man, you can't really put a price on that, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments that like you really like. If somebody would have told me 10 years ago, I wouldn't believe him for sure.
Yes. So yeah, that's good news, man. So who is your top 3 producers?
Top 3 producers.
If you can name 3. I know that's kind of hard, but
yeah, man, that's tough. Timbaland up there. This is in no order. There's no order because it's hard for me to do that. But Timbaland, Quincy Jones, and Can I say the Neptunes, or does that count? Okay, I'll say the Neptunes.
Yeah. Cool.
And I got a strong fourth. My strong fourth is like Kanye. That's it.
So this is the session, man, where we do a cook up here on SPD Fanatics. And I just want to showcase your skills and let my viewers know and the listeners know that you about that work.